All right. Our next talk is from Simin Yu from speaking to us from where are you physically?
Ah, I work in Korea. Uh, the city Daejeon. It's called Daejeon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm not sure you heard about KAIST, the same city where KAIST is located.
Excellent. Well, please take it away.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to my talk, and I'm honored to give a talk today here online. Today, I will be talking about multiplicative irreducibility of shifted multiplicative subgroups. This is joint work with Seoyoung Kim at the University of Basel and Chi Hoi Wip in Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Here is my outline of talk. First, I would like to give you some definitions and questions that we are interested in. First, let me recall you the definition of a multiplicative subgroup of finite field. If you just consider a subgroup of a finite field, and in this case, it's called a multiplicative subgroup of a finite field. For example, if you consider the set of squares, I would like to denote it by RP, quadratic residue. Then in this case, it's an example of multiplicative subgroup. Also, if you consider the set of these powers, and I'm gonna denote it by SD, and when the divide p minus 1, it's also one of the examples of multiplicative subgroups of FP. In fact, you can show that every subgroup of finite field is given by this form, given by the set of these powers when for some d dividing p minus 1. Let G be a proper multiplicative subgroup of a finite field. Then my question is that G has a very strong multiplicative structure. So can it admit an additive decomposition? That's the question. And in other words, can we find a non-trivial subset A and B such that this G can be written as a sum of two subsets? Then it's called the generalized Sarkozy conjecture. So what we studied is a multiplicative version of a generalized Sarkozy's conjecture. That's what I'm gonna talk about today. And first, I would like to talk about the history of this problem for additive decomposition first, and then I want to move to multiplicative decompositions. Here is the conjecture conjectured by Sarkozy. In 2012, he conjectured the following. Let P be a large enough prime, and then there are no two subsets A and B such that the set of squares, quadratic residues, cannot be written as a sum of two subsets. Also, the following generalization of Sarkozy's conjecture is widely believed. Let's see the conjecture, generalized version. Let D be a fixed number greater than equal to 2, and Q is a 1 mod D, and large enough prime power, and G be the multiplicative subgroup of FD over index D. Then in this case, G admits no non-trivial additive decomposition. That is the generalized version of Sarkozy's conjecture. In a breakthrough work of 2021, Hansen and Petridides proved the following theorems using Stepanov's method. Let P be a prime and G be a proper multiplicative subgroup if A and B are subsets of a finite field such that A plus B is contained in G union 0. In that case, they obtain the upper bound for the product of a size of A times the product size of B. This was important to very important. I will explain why later. But so I want to give you an idea how they proved it. So that the size of A be m and the size of B be n, and this intersection size is just r. In this case, they constructed a certain polynomial of degree is a size of G such that f has a zeros in this all these elements has a f has a zeros over order m, And also F has zeros in this set, or these elements are all zeros of F of order n-1. Then what you can have is that that means that the size of the number of zeros times order plus the number of zeros times order should be less than equal to degree of F, right? So these two are cancelled. So that's how you get this upper bound inequality. In fact, it's the option is there how to construct such F. They also showed in the same paper that if x goes to infinity, then the number of primes less than equal to x, such that bad primes we don't want is just a small pi x. That's their result. In a very recent breakthrough last year, Kalminin used the ingenious idea to resolve a Sarkozy's conjecture. Let P be a prime, and then there are no two subsets of AB with a size condition is like this, then the set of squares cannot be written as a sum of two subsets. To prove it, he employed a sophisticated application of a Stepanov's method, building on the polynomial introduced by Hansen and Petri that I explained in the previous slide. And he also noted that he talked about this result in at the number theory web seminar, and he mentioned that it seems like the techniques he used cannot be used to extend to general multiplicative subgroups, even though that this result is very strong because it's even not for sufficient large p. He showed it for each p prime. Instead, he solved the Levson conjecture. Let me state the conjecture. Levson conjectured in 2017. Let P be a large enough prime, then there is no subset A such that this set of squares union 0 cannot be written as A minus A. In this case, Kalminin proved the more general version of this Lev and Son's conjecture. Let P be a prime and let G be a proper multiplicative subgroup. And there is a size condition because in this case it has a counterexample. Then for each subset of A, he showed that G union 0 cannot be written as A minus A. This problem also was studied by Skredov in 2016. He showed this conjecture under this condition for the size of G is less than equal to this number. In fact, I want to talk about one more application. It's implicit in his proof that under the same condition, if A minus A is contained in G union 0, then we can have this inequality. If you remember Hansen and Petridai's inequality, this one, then if you just replace B by A, then you will get this A squared minus A less than equal to size of G. As you see, improving just -1 need a lot of works and was very hard. I wanted to just emphasize this one. And as another consequence, if P is greater than 17 and P is 1 mod 4, then these results, his result improved the maximum upper bound of a Killing number of a Paley graph. As you see, if you just change this G by the set of squares, then we can get a upper bound of a Killing number of a Paley graph. And his result improved it as well. So now I would like to talk about multiplicative decompositions. In 2014, Sarkozy also conjectured the following. Let P be a large enough prime, then for each non-zero constant, then there are no two subsets such that this set shifted quadratic residues cannot be written as a product of two subsets. We want to remove this 0 because if 0 is contained in this set, then we always have this decomposition. And as you see, it has a lot of additive structure, so it's natural to ask, it's possible that it has a multiplicative decomposition. And also, in our previous paper, we also conjectured that if D is greater than 2 and fixed, and if Q is 1 mod D and sufficiently large, and G is a multiplicative subgroup of index D, then we just state that for each non-zero constant, this set has no non-trivial multiplicative decomposition. And actually, we have a similar result of Hansen and Petrides inequality. Using Stepanov's method, we obtain the following lemma. If P is a prime and let G be a multiplicative subgroup, and if we have this condition A times B plus lambda is contained G union 0, then in that case, we have a upper bound for this size of A times size of B. And also, if we have a additional condition, lambda is in G, then in that case, we had a stronger upper bound like this. As we see before, we also use a Stepanov's method. Idea is that if given the size of A is by n, the size of B given by m, and intersection size given by r, in that case, we were able to construct a polynomial of degree this one, such that the number of zeros here zeros of in this set has over order n. Also, f has a zeros in this set of order n minus 1. So with the same argument, the number of zeros times the order and the number of zeros times the order is less than equal to degree f. In this case, we constructed a polynomial whose degree is less than equal to this number. So that's how we got this inequality. But in fact, it's important that if these inequalities are all equality, then we have two ways to write this polynomial. We already know the polynomial of f now, and using the zeros, these zeros, then we can write this f in another way. That's the upshot of our actual proof. And also, after we already have this inequality result, and when we saw Kalmin's paper last year, and we thought that we might be able to solve a multiplicative version as well. That's how we started this work. And also in our previous paper for lambda is 1, we showed that this implies an asymptotic version as well, like Hansen and Petrides. And I also want to remark that multiplicative Sarkozy conjecture is potentially more difficult than additive Sarkozy conjecture. In 2020, Skredov also obtained the following result. He also studied multiplicative version of a Levson conjecture. If epsilon is fixed, and for all multiplicative subgroups satisfying this condition, then he showed that these shifted multiplicative subgroup cannot be written as A divided by A over A. That's already people studied this problem a little bit. And now I would like to talk about our results. What we showed is that let P be an odd prime and G be a proper subgroup, and there is an additional condition, lambda is in G, because as I showed you before, our inequality is stronger when lambda is in G. Then there do not exist two subsets or any subsets sets such that this shifted multiplicative subgroup cannot be written as a product of two subsets. This is somewhat stronger in the sense that Kalmanin's result does not resolve for in general subgroup setting, but it's somewhat weaker in the sense that we need the additional condition lambda is in G. And also we believe that the case lambda is not in G is substantially more difficult, and our techniques do not seem extend to the case lambda is not in G. And instead, we completely resolved the multiplicative analog of a Levson conjecture. What we showed is that let P be a odd prime and let G be a proper multiplicative subgroup with the size of G is greater than equal to 3. In that case, we showed these two statements. And at first, we didn't know that which one would be the really multiplicative analog of a Leveson conjecture. And we just showed both of them. Just shifted the multiplicative subgroup, and we also added a zero here. And we showed these two statements. And today, I'm gonna sketch the first statement later, because this one is the shortest proof in our maybe paper. And also, this result also extend the result of a squared of results to all proper multiplicative subgroups of order n is 3. And also, I want to mention that the assumptions that G is proper and the size of G is greater than equal to 3 are necessary. If not, there are some counter examples. And the philosophy of the proof is derive algebraic equations as much as we can and give a contradiction. Then the problem is that how to derive a lot of algebraic equations. That's what I want to show you today. Now I want to talk about proof. Before that, I would like to define one more notation. Throughout n is an integer and x1, xr in the variables. And elementary symmetric polynomials is defined by like this. It looks like a complicated, but once you see an example, if n is 3, then E1 is just a summation of all variables, 3 variables, and E2 is just choose any 2 of variables and multiply them and add them. And E3 is just a product of x1, x2, x3. Then as you see, for example, if I just denote EI by EI, then this quantity by EI, then this polynomial whose zeros are AI can be written by y to the n minus E1 times y to the n minus 1 plus like this. So here is a sketch of the proof. Suppose that for contradiction, there exists such a constant Cauchy mu and subset A and proper multiplicative subgroup G with order n is to 3. And this shifted multiplicative subgroup can be written as A over A. Then I just want to scale a little bit, and so let lambda is a minus mu over Cauchy, then this equation become like this. Then one can show that the intersection, the size of this intersection is actually 0. It's not that hard to show. You just pick a element in this intersection. Because U is in these two sets, then there are 2 ways to write this U. U can be written by Cauchy inverse, A inverse, and minus lambda times another A prime inverse. Then you will know that minus lambda is just in A over Cauchy A. That means that minus lambda plus lambda should be contained in this A over Cauchy A plus lambda. Then by the assumption, it should be in G. This is a contradiction because G doesn't have a 0 as an element. So we have a contradiction. So there is no such intersection. And let's try to get upper bound of the size of this G minus lambda, subtract lambda. So since 1 over Cauchy is the same with any element A over Cauchy A, so trivial upper bound, we can obtain a trivial upper bound. So we suppose that this one, so A over Cauchy A, there are 2 sets A and A, Cauchy A. So the upper bound is n squared minus n because of this equation. And you need to add 1. So that's how we get upper bound over this thing. And suppose that if lambda is in G, and we have an inequality before this one, and if you just replace B by A, then you get this thing. But I showed that this intersection is just R, 0, so you get this number. Then this is a contradiction with a trivial upper bound above. So we must have lambda is not in G. In this case, because since lambda is not in G, so the size of A is less than equal to n squared minus n plus 1. Now, uh, on the other hand, also, even we have an inequality for lambda is not in G as well. So that one was like this. In this case, if we just replace B by A, then n square is equal to A square and less than equal to this number. And I showed that R is 0. So that's how we get this one. Then now we have this equation. This one is important. N squared minus n plus 1 is equal to size of G. In the previous slide, I mentioned that if we have that inequalities are all equal, then we have two ways to write the polynomial. Two ways to write a polynomial. In our previous paper, we showed that there exists a unique solution C1 Cn satisfying this system of equations. Actually, if it's hard to remember what is it exactly, but you can ignore the condition. I will just mention it. I used this condition. And the polynomial we constructed actually looks like this. And now we have a degree, I said that now we have this equation, so degree is exactly n squared. And using the expression from the zeros of f, then we have another expression of f. So in this case, I want to look at the left hand, the first expression first. In this case, we can consider the coefficients of x to the k. In this case, if we look at just this expression, then look at the coefficient of x to the k, then you will know that this one is the coefficient. Then left-hand side, by the condition from the equation system of equations, then this thing is 0 for k is between 1 and n minus 1. So, and also that's why this coefficient of x to the k should be 0 if k is between 1 and n minus 1. Now I want to look at the second expression. So if we let me set one notation. Let's write px as a product of this polynomial. Then we can rewrite it using elementary symmetry polynomial as I showed you before. So just using manipulating some constant, then you can rewrite this f using this px polynomial. And let's look at the coefficient of x to the k in this case as well. Then coefficient of x to the k is given by like this. Then you can check that actually these coefficients can be 0. So that means that the coefficient of x to the k in p to the n should be 0. That's how I got this one is 0 using these two expressions of a polynomial f. Then I would like to skip this step. You can show that actually this symmetric polynomial ek with respect to this a1 dot dot an is just 0 when k is from 1 to n minus 1. Using this fact, then if you rewrite this polynomial, product over this polynomial, and then by the fact we know that these are all zeros, so that we get x to the n plus minus 1 to the n times en. In particular, a1, a2, an are precisely the n distinct roots of a polynomial x to the minus alpha. So it follows that A is a coset of a subgroup of nth root of unity. So let me just write it. A is equal to beta times mu n. Mu n is a root of unity, set of root of unity. Then we get A over Cauchy A is just Cauchy inverse times A mu n. In this case, we have that the size of this A over Cauchy A is just given by n. But as I mentioned in the previously, this size is same with the size of G. Size of G is n squared minus n plus 1. Since n is greater than equal to 2, so we have a contradiction. that's how we prove this problem. So let me summarize you. Let me give you some summary. So for arbitrary multiplicative subgroup, as for decomposition A plus B, Kalmanin proved when G is a set of squares, and Kalmanin completely proved that A minus A case. And also our work, we proved that when lambda is in G, we proved for product over AB case. And also our work completely resolved for arbitrary shifted multiplicative subgroup and also it's not can be written by A minus A. So our future research would be our next goal is to prove a multiplicative version of Sarkozy conjectures completely when lambda is not in G. Also, we are interested in proving the generalized Sarkozy conjecture plus additive version as well. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Samin. Are there questions? I see Steve Sanger has a comment in the chat.
Oh, hi.
All right, thank you very much. Our next talk is at 9:30. And if you
Yeah.
have questions, reach out to Samin.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Yeah.